What is up, everybody? It is KnewNeverYou here today. Let me move this out the way so you can hear me a little bit better. Today, I am bringing you my Eldlich Trickstar build that I play at tournaments right now for this current format. I'm testing a few things with Despia, Melodious, and Trickstar, and the hero package, and a few other things. Excuse me, probably won't start playing competitively until Battle of Chaos drops in February, just because I'm still trying to promote my business, still trying to get some revenue, trying to get my company into the black. Right now I'm in the red, so last few weeks of the year I'm just trying to get everything prepared for the new year and get a fresh start and pass all my mistakes that I made in 2021, throw them in the trash, and make some better decisions in 2022. Changed my field center because this one's kind of zombie-ish. So it goes with the theme. You got kind of like a cutie fairy type of necromancer type chick, but it's the field center from Amanda LaPalm. But yeah, like I was saying, let's do this deck profile. So we got 3 Eldlich, the Golden Lords. Obviously, it's an Eldlich deck or Eldlich deck. I played 3 of these because a lot of people only play 2 or maybe even 1. So when they see more than 1, they kind of have to readjust their game plan and try to figure out if I'm running 2 or if I'm running 3. What's the ratio this guy's doing? It's a light monster, so it works with my fairies, my Trickstars. And if I get, excuse me, I should have drank some water. I can't remember if it's Rivalry or Gozen. One of them deals with attributes. So if I get hit under that, I'm good because all my monsters are light for the most part, except the extra deck. But this is really good because it helps me go into my extra deck, which I'll show you later. But it also brings itself back out for 3,500 attack and 3,800 defense, which is a pretty big wall. It can't be destroyed by card effects. So if I have to go against something like a Dragoon that hasn't negated anything, it can't pop this once it brings itself back out. So that's a real good thing to remember. 3 Candinas. Candina is probably one of the best fairies I've ever had my hands on. If anybody has any COTD, Coda the Duelist, Candinas, holler at me. First edition, of course. I want to get a playset of those. Right now I'm using the mega packs, but I just like having a playset of every fairy that's ever been out in every rarity, every form. Candina searches any Trickstar card, period. Excuse me. The spells, the traps, the monsters, any of that. Unfortunately, she doesn't work on special summon, or she would be ridiculously broken because it would. There are so many ways to special summon her. So she searches everything, and once your opponent, not once per turn, but every time your opponent plays and resolves a spell or trap, they get burned for 200. So that's really good. 3 copies of Trickstar Lycoris. And my homie Vince told me, or brought it to my attention, that most of the Trickstar cards are poisonous flowers. We had a Lycoris grow in our front yard that looked exactly like this, but obviously because it's a Lycoris. And it was so pretty, but found out it was poisonous if you ingest it. So she can quick effect reveal herself and then target a Trickstar monster on the field. Token, Candina, Lilybell, Corbane, any of them. Bounce that one and special summon herself. And every time your opponent adds cards from to the hand, she burns them for 200. So it's not 200 period, it's 200 per card. So that if they add 3 cards and I have 3 copies out, they take 18 for 3 cards. Because they would take 600 for this one, 600 for this one, 600 for that one, which is a pretty big chunk of change for 3 cards to be doing a person. So this also works with a few other things that I have in my deck. So play 3 of that to max it out. We play 1 Lily Bell. Yes, sir. Max Rarity Lily Bell, the tournament or OTS pack. Super rare. Lily Bell is really, really good. Generally, you bring Lily Bell out when you have another Trickstar monster that you want to get to your hand or back to the field. She can attack directly, and when she does damage, she can grab a Trickstar monster from the graveyard and add it to your hand. So if you attack directly with Lily Bell and you have Lycoris in the graveyard, you can add Lycoris back to the hand. And if you haven't special summoned Lily Bell by her effect, which is if she's added to the hand, except by drawing her, she can special summon herself. So you can Lily Bell attack, add Lycoris back to your hand, or Lycoris effect, target Lily Bell, swap out, add Lily Bell back to the hand, Lily Bell activates, special summons herself again, attack directly, get another Lycoris, swap out. She can only bring herself back out once per turn, but that's 1,600 points of damage per turn, 2,000 if you have Light Stage out, and she can, get back some of your important monsters to your hand. So that's really good. I could run 2, but I just kind of run 1 right now because she's pretty easy to get back with the deck I'm running, so I don't really trip about it. Now if she gets banished, then I'm kind of screwed in that regard because I can get her back, but that then it really doesn't happen too often. Running 1 copy of Coralbane. Really, really pretty copy of the secret rare. I'm glad they made this secret rare. This can special summon itself if I don't have any monsters on the field or all the monsters I control are Trickstar monsters. And during the battle phase, before or during battle damage calculation, I can drop her, and whatever Trickstar monster is battling gains its attack. So basically doubles its attack. So if I attack with Candina, it would be 36. If I attack with Lycoris, it'll be 32. If I attack with Lily Bell, it'll be 16. And she can't special summon herself if I use the battle phase effect. And she can't use the battle phase effect if I special summon her. It's 1 effect per turn and only once per turn. So hard once per turn. 3 Ash, just to get rid of those pesky effects like adding cards from the deck to the hand, special summoning from the deck, or sending a card from the deck to the grave. So all the pot cards, all the foolish cards, any other random card that's special summoned from the deck, she basically takes care of that once per turn. So pivotal moment that can really, really hurt somebody. Draw for the decks that want to keep adding cards to the hand. After they hit that first pretty good card, something, let's say if they play Stratos and they need to add multiple cards to the hand, just draw them after that first Stratos effect, and that should slow them down for a little bit, if not cripple them completely. Some decks it just completely kills altogether. 1 copy of Card Destruction. I want some secret copies of this, so if anybody has secret rare versions, I don't care if it's first edition, I don't care if it's unlimited, I just want secret rare copies. 3, please. This dumps both players' hands to the graveyard, and they draw the exact same amount of cards that they had in their hand. So this works really well with Trickstar Lycoris, because if I go first and I have this in my hand, and I have just 1 random card that I could do without or whatever, I can do my full play this. They lose 1,000 off the jump, 1,200 if I have Light Stage out. They're going to use another 400 when they draw for turn, and then if I have Reincarnation out, they're going to lose another, let's see, they would draw, so there'd be 6, there'd be 14, so it's just about 3,000 damage just for them taking their turn. And if I have multiple out, then that's just more damage. And this really helps with the Eldlich engine because, as you know, when those cards are in the graveyard, if you don't use their effect at the end phase, they can banish themselves to get an opposite. A golden land gets an Elixir gets a golden land. 1 copy of Upstart Goblin. We can only play 1 copy, but Lets me draw a card if I need to, if I'm in a pinch and I really need to see something. My opponent gets 1,000, but with the Trickstar engine, 1,000 life points really isn't helping them, in my opinion. 2 copies of Elixir of White Destiny. This special summons 1 zombie monster from the hand or graveyard, but if I don't have any Eldlich monsters, I can only special summon Eldlich monsters. And for the rest of the turn, I can't special summon anything except zombie monsters. And during my main phase, I can banish this card from my graveyard, set 1 golden land spell or trap directly from my deck. I can only use 1 effect. I can only use one effect once per turn. It's kind of like Korobane. If I special summon Eldlich monster, I can't banish it to get a golden land spell or trap. So this is for the battle phase sometimes. Like if I'm going for game and I have this set already, or if it's in my hand and there's an Eldlich monster in the graveyard, I can just special summon the Eldlich monster, go for 25. Or if I don't have anything on the field and they're attacking me for game, I can special summon it, put in defense mode, either block the attack or stop the attack. So that's really good. 1 copy of Elixir of Black Awakening. It just special summons a zombie from the hand or deck. I rarely ever use the effect. I usually just set this and then use Golden Lord to send it from the field to the grave to special summon himself and give him an extra 1,000. Or I'll pitch it from the hand with Golden Lord to target up a card on the field and send it to the graveyard. So I rarely ever use it, but it is another card that he can use to get rid of something on the field or bring himself back out. Monster Reborn, 1 copy, to either special summon something out of my graveyard that I can use or something out of my opponent's graveyard. Pretty self-explanatory. 1 Regeki for those decks that make these really, really big boards but don't have any protection, or to bait out a negate because nobody wants their field to go bye-bye. Trickstar Live Stage. A lot of people don't know what this one does. It's really, really good, especially if you're doing a specific Trickstar Link Climb. One of my favorite Trickstar cards. If you have some more of these, holler at me. I want as many as I can get. I really want to fill out the page, but it's a fairy card, and if you haven't figured it out by now, fairies are kind of my thing. Pink sleeves, fairy monsters, that's me. So when you play this card, you get to add a Trickstar monster from your grave to your hand. And when you activate the next effect, you can't special summon any monsters that turn except for Trickstar monsters. So the first effect is if you control a Trickstar Link monster, you can special summon a Trickstar token, 0/0. And then if your opponent controls a spell or trap in their spell or trap zone, controls a card in their spell or trap zone, special summon the Trickstar token. This counts for those hero monsters that equip. This counts for what's that other set of Infernoble monsters that equip monsters. Anything that's in the spell or trap card zone that my opponent has, I can get a token off of that. So if they have a the card in their spell or trap zone, I special summon the token, link all 4, link 1, then I have a link monster, so I can get another token for having a link monster, automatic Holly Angel. So I can really go anywhere I want to go. And there's another Trickstar monster, a lot of people don't know what it does, that I use that I also can use this with. Foolish Burial. This is really just to get my Eldlich monster or my Golden Lord from my deck to the graveyard, just to get things rolling if I'm not really seeing anything in my hand that I can use. So got that. Terraforming for live stage and light stage, just in case I don't see a Candina. I can use this to get the ball rolling if I don't get ashed. Trickstar Magical Laurel. This is basically a premature burial without paying the 800 to bring back a Trickstar monster. But when the Trickstar monster does damage by battle or card effect, I can special summon another Trickstar monster from my hand. So that really just brings out more fuel to the fire. 1 copy of Light Stage to search any Trickstar monster, and once per turn I can target a spell or trap card that hasn't been activated, or that's basically face down or set. Target it, and if they don't activate it, then they either have to activate it at the end phase or it goes straight to the graveyard. So if they're playing Awaken the Dragon, I can send it and don't have to worry about the consequences. Call by the Grave, self-explanatory. You just target a monster, negate its effect. And it's just hand traps, other monsters that I think it's Malicious that banishes himself to special on another one, things like that. 3 copies of Trickstar Reincarnation to banish my opponent's whole hand. And if it's in the graveyard, I can banish it to target a Trickstar monster in my grave to special summon it. A lot of people think that's once per turn. It's not. And I can use the same turn that I activate this. 3 copies of Eldlich of Scarlet Sanguine. Basically does the same thing as the black one, except it's a trap, so it's basically a quick effect, spell speed 2. And lets me special summon a zombie from the deck or the graveyard. And I can banish it to get a golden land spell or trap from the deck. We got 3 copies of Conquistador. If I have an Eldlich monster on the field, I can special summon it and pop a face-up card. Yeah, 1 face-up card. But if Eldlich is not on the field, it just special summons itself. And then if I don't use the effect and it's in the graveyard, I can banish it to get a Eldlich card. I run 3 because you got to max it out just to get rid of problematic cards. I run 2 Guardian of the Golden Land because people think you just run 1 or none. There's been many times where people had Dragoon on the field and they negate my first one and I bring out the second one, make him 0, and that's all. That's all he wrote, all she wrote. It does the same thing as Conquistador when it's banished. Hankero banishes a card from the graveyard, either graveyard. So this is really good when a monster reborn or target anything in the graveyard with any of their effects. You have to have Golden Lord on the field to use any of these 3, but it banishes that monster or card, and so it makes their effect fizzle out, and that's really, really good, especially if you're trying to outgrind them. I run 2 Crackdown just because there's some monsters that are really, really good and you really don't want to deal with, and if they mess up with their Destroy Phoenix Enforcer or DPE and not kill something or kill himself, snatch it, and then you don't have to worry about that for the rest of the time that you have it, because they generally only run 1 DPE anyway, so you're pretty good on that. And 1 copy of Golden Land Forever, just in case, something gets ridiculous and I need to negate it. As long as I have a Eldlich monster on the field, I can tribute a zombie, negate it, and make it a solemn without the life points loss. All right, the extra deck. Golden Lord is a level 10, so basically you bring one out on your turn with the 1000 attack boost, 1000 defense boost. Through your opponent's end phase, you use Scarlet to bring out another one. You go for this. You detach 1 material, hit your opponent for 2k. And then after you do that, you overlay for this guy, or this girl, or this thing. And once per turn, you can detach a material. This card gains 2k attack and defense permanently. And also for the rest of the turn, none of your other monsters can attack but this. But this card can make an attack on monsters up to the number of materials it has +1. So if it has 2 materials, it can attack 3 monsters. Ridiculous. If only it did piercing. Lina the Light Charmer. Basically, if I don't have an Eldlich monster or a Golden Lord, I summon 2 of my tokens, whether it be Trickstar tokens or Golden Land tokens, and I'll link them off into this and snatch one of my opponent's light monsters. Most of the time it's Nibiru, but there are a lot of things you can snatch that a lot of people don't realize are light monsters when they get rid of it, but it's a really good card. And when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, I can add one light monster with 1500 defense or less from my deck to my hand. One Unchained Abomination. This card is ridiculous. If a card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, pop another card. When this card is when another monster is destroyed by battle, pop a card. At the end phase, pop a card. So Conquistador, pop a card, he can pop a card. Golden Lord, pop something in battle, pop a card. At the end phase, pop a card. So there's 3 potential pops per turn, so you gotta run that. Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. So a lot of people don't know that the dog trap that turns turns opponent's monsters to 0 is a level 8. So all he requires is a level 7 to get that non-targetable effect. So a lot of times I just tribute that, a token, and then some other random monster to get this out. I usually attack and banish something, but he can attack, blow something up. If it successfully wins in a battle, it can either gain 1500, banish 1 card, or attack 2 times the next turn. Very rarely do I attack twice the next turn. I either get 1500 or banish something. More often than not, I banish something, but if I have to, I will get that 1500 depending on what I'm playing, because if I'm playing Sword Soul, I would definitely rather get 1500 than, well, I don't know. I'd probably want to banish that big monster. So I guess it just really depends. Borrow Sword, because I just want to end the game quickly. Basically, it can be destroyed by battle. I can target a face-up attack position monster, change it to defense, make him attack twice. And once per turn, when this card declares an attack on a monster, it has to be face up. I can gain half of that monster's attack and give it to him. And then, you know, basically he can switch something to defense and attack twice. So if it's attacking something with 3K, he'll be at 45. Underworld, Goddess of the Closed World. Basically, you bring this out by using one of your opponent's monsters. If they have a link 2 or lower, or just any other problematic monster, you can use it to get into this. But you got to use at least 4 effect monsters. 4 of them. And it can't be, it's unaffected by effects unless they target this. And then once per turn, if they try to target anything or do anything in their graveyard, you can negate it. So it's a walk in Necro Valley once per turn, and it's pretty strong. And it's a light monster, so if they have one, they use it and you pop it, you can just take it with your liner. Trickstar Divideritis. Now this one, I can summon off of those 2 tokens from live stage. And this one, every time my opponent specials or normals a monster, they take 200. So they take 200 for playing the game. Ridiculous. Oh, and also when it's special summon, I burn my opponent for 200. Phoenix, just to pop the back row, just in case I need to, or a problematic spell a trap card. Holly Angel, 2 Trickstar monsters. Each time a Trickstar monster is summoned to her link points, deal my opponent 200, and then she gains any damage inflicted by a Trickstar monster's effect as attack points. So the damage she deals you from me summoning a Trickstar monster to her link points, she gains as attack points to the end of the turn. So Lycaris, every time she burns you, she's gaining it. So she can get pretty strong pretty quick. Trickstar Foxglove Witch takes just 2+ fairies. If this card is special summon, you can inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each card they control. If this link summon card is destroyed by battle or effect, you can special summon 1 link 2 or lower Trickstar monster from your extra deck. then inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each card they control. I just use this for time most of the time, or to link climb into the next one. Trickstar Bella Madonna. This card is unaffected by card effects while she is not pointing to another monster. So if you can somehow get Holly Angel in the extra monster zone, have her pointing here, and have her going to the left, not only is she protected by battle, but she's unaffected by anything else. And then also, once per turn, she burns my opponent for each Trickstar monster in my graveyard with a different name. So that's 1, 2, 3 in the extra deck and 3 in the main deck. So 1,200 additional burn points. Spicy. And since I banished so much stuff between the Trickstar monsters, the Eldlich spells and traps, I play Zeraboros because he gains 200? Yeah, 200 for each banished card, period, on both sides. And then if a monster is special summoned to any of his link zones, he banishes all cards on the field and then brings himself back on the next standby phase, which is ridiculous. Then we got Nightmare Unicorn alternate art. I use this to drop a card to the grave and just bounce something back to the deck. I guess spin it back to the deck is what they call it. But that's all he's really here for. And access code talker, just to really put pressure on the board and pop a whole bunch of stuff that I need to get rid of because they can't respond to any of his effects. And then, you know, he can target a link monster in the grave and then gain its link points as attack. So for every link marker it has, he gains 1,000 off of it. So usually you go unicorn or something else and you would gain 3k because unicorn's a link 3. That's the extra deck. Let's do the side deck. One more copy of Trickstar Corobane, just in case I want to do a link climb version of my deck. And the deck I'm playing is really not trying to put that much pressure. Ghost Bell for those graveyard effects. One last copy of Droll, just in case I want to try to do that Droll reincarnation combo, and I need to see this a little better than my 2 copies. 2 copies of Dark Ruler No More, just to even the playing field. But I finally got Droplets, so if I wanted to play Droplets, I could. Harpy's Feather Duster, just for that back row. Solemn Judgment, just in case there's some things I can't deal with and I have to pay that half. Evenly Match, just in case it's a deck like Sword Soul and I'm really not seeing nothing that hand or that turn and I just need to banish as much as I can and then start playing. And Solemn Judgment for those pesky effects that I don't want to deal with, or special summon monsters. Hip Hoshigan, just in case I'm not playing a light-oriented deck, I can swap this out with something else. It gives all light monsters 500 attack and defense, and when it's destroyed by a battle or card effect, I can target a light monster in my grave and add it to my hand. And then Borlo Dragon for those pesky monsters that I can't really deal with, but I can snatch them. And it doesn't target, so the make them lose 500 targets, but the snatch effect does not target. Now, for those people that think that I never have max rarity cards, I do. We got 3 ulti-rare Trickstar Lycoris, 2 ulti-rare Blackluster Soldier, and a ghost rare Blackluster Soldier. I just don't use high rarity versions of cards because people don't respect your stuff, and I'm just not there maturity wise to let that happen. But this is my Eldlich Trickstar deck. Tell me what you think in the comments, and if you feel like you got some improvements, let me know. This is KnewNeverYou, and if you didn't know, these fairies do.